Hello everybody. It is June 12th, so it is about halfway through the year now. I thought I would do a recap of where all my projects are. It seems to be a trend and I like it, and I've got a lot of stuff going on. So here's where I am story-wise, what's on submission, what's on the back burner, and things like that. So I've got my handy dandy list of everything that is currently on submission. So, oh, that one got rejected. Okay, and so I have currently 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stories on submission. One just got accepted 2 days ago, so hooray for that. So I have zombie flamingos on submission, failed harvest. I actually have 3 Twitter length stories that I want to put on submission, but the email bounced, so I've messaged them and hopefully I'll get those 3 submitted soon. Snowdrift is on submission, The Witch's Purge, and Tentacles and Boomboxes, Rorschach, Carbigen, and North Star. Oh, squeaky toys time. So yeah, Zombie Flamingos is a 100-word piece about a zombie outbreak that happens at a watering hole, and the animals start to molt and feast on humans. So the flamingos were underestimated and are making their presence known. Failed Harvest is a story about someone who makes a deal with a crossroads demon. I have 3 for Story Seed Vault. I have one about a tiny robot that it's smaller than a flea, but it's remote controlled and it can jump and spin and stuff like that. It's really cool. These ones had to be based off of scientific studies, like real science. So I had the tiny robot one. I had the mirror dimension one where the rate of expansion is different than we expected, probably because of a mirror dimension and gravity. So I have that little teeny story, and I also have one about warm-blooded dinosaurs. Abduction, which I had submitted to Black Petals magazine, got accepted for their Halloween edition. So that comes out October 15th. Snowdrift is about a man who is driving during a snowstorm. Roy. Yeah. And is following behind one of the big trucks with all of these pipes on the back, and of course the chain breaks and a pipe comes through and he veers off the side of the road and dies, and it's lovely. But The Witch's Purge is about a trial that has a twist. And then Tentacles and Boomboxes is my 1980s Lovecraft LARP story. Yes, the main character is an art student in college and makes the Necronomicon, and it starts to seem to write itself when she's half asleep trying to work on this thing, and everything just goes downhill from there. It's great fun. Rorschach is a flash fiction piece where I always get them mixed up. I don't know the difference between a psychiatrist and a psychologist. I know one can do meds, but I don't know, whatever. One of them is doing a test on her with experimental, like, homeopathic drugs that they just like rub on her temples, and yeah, it goes really, really dark, really fast. Carbigen is another experimental drug, flash fiction piece, and this one is where they're trying to have her remember the past and confront it, repressed memories, and that one goes dark too. And then North Star is about the last survivor of the human race on planet Earth. And yeah, those are all my ones currently on submission. Technically, Seeds of Doubt, my middle grade, is still on submission with a few people, even though I'm currently doing another version of the draft because of some feedback that I got from an agent. So I don't count that as on submission because I've mostly gotten just plain old rejections. But yeah, switching pages. My current projects. So I have a short story called It Came From Under the Bed. This one is where a guy inherits a house that he grew up in until he was 6 and taken from the house. And is told by his psychiatrist, like, you need to go and confront your past. So he goes to the house. It's cleaner than he remembers because the body removal team had been in. And he spends the night in his old room. And yeah, creepy stuff ensues. So that is currently what I'm working on. Also, Tales from Brackish Harbor, which is an anthology that I wanted to submit to. I'm working on that story, and that's the one with the lighthouse. It's a mix of psychological and cosmic horror. So like, he strains the mercury through leather to get the impurities out like they used to. And chamois leather, I think is how you pronounce it. But yeah, he handles mercury a lot and is starting to notice things that are a little off and wants to sacrifice somebody to bring the days of prosperity back to this island. So he's a little off his rocker. Seeds of Doubt is my middle grade horror, the first one, with the plant lady. If you know, you know. But yeah, that one is on submission, querying, but currently doing a final draft with my mother and a thesaurus and cranking the voice up. So we are on chapter 6 right now of the final redraft. Cracks of Fear is the sequel to that one, which I am a few chapters in. It takes place in a gargoyle mansion. And so with Seeds of Doubt, I submitted, it started out as a short story for an anthology that I submitted to. And I liked the short story so much that I expanded it into the novel. And so Cracks of Fear, I started on the novel, found a place that would accept short stories for middle grade horror, and shortened it down to a short story and submitted that. That one takes 6 months to hear back from, and it's been 3 so far, so we'll see. But I need to get back to doing the whole thing, but I don't know if I should until I figure out what's happening with the first book to see what changes I've made in edits, if characters are taken out or not. Yeah, so that's Cracks of Fear. The kid in a gargoyle mansion that's haunted by a gargoyle that moves when you're not looking. And then Tiny Shivers is my horror collection, my adult horror collection. I need to figure out which ones to remove to make it as strong as possible, and stop adding to it, because I keep adding to it because it's not going to the editors until November, so it's like I might as well keep adding what I've written. But now it's 56,000 words, and it's a bit long for a collection from one person, so I don't know, we'll see. My back burner projects. I have Gates of Ascension, which is a sci-fi duology. It is adult. Even though it starts when the main character is a kid, it has a time skip, so it's mostly adult. And yeah, that one's fun. That one I actually got 22K into it, and then had an epiphany and started rewriting it again, and then I got stuck. That's the story where I wrote my worst line of all time. It's supposed to be a dramatic assassination, and I literally wrote pew pew pew, all 3 fell down. So it needs a lot of work. But Gates of Ascension has like these basically stargates. So basically has stargates where these Lovecraftian elder gods are on the other side, and we have oracle priestesses on our side that interpret the gases that come through that give blinding visions. So like they literally go blind from them, and also the whisperings and the murmurings that come through they'll interpret. And the guys there are the scribes and write down what's happening. And there's a whole rebellion going on in the solar system. So yeah, so I have like 3 main characters. I have a rebel pilot, an oligarchy pilot, and an oracle priestess. So I think this one I'm gonna split into a duology and do the 2 pilots in the first book and the oracle priestess in the second book, where they all meet up near the end and then complete the final ending. So yeah, that's Gates of Ascension. Bonds of Blood and Dreams. This is my romance that went nowhere. I haven't even, like, okay, I drafted like maybe 3K in it and got sidetracked with short stories again. But yeah, this is the one where the girl marries the knight in shining armor. The knight in shining armor has to go off to war, and her father-in-law hates her guts, stows her under the floorboards, and when the knight comes home, lies to him saying, "She left, yeah." So there is magic systems, there is blood magic, there is dream magic, and so the husband realizes like she's stuck somewhere and tries to rescue her, and I think she's gonna bond with one of her captors, which is the mother-in-law, and try and like empower her to get out of the relationship and save herself, and then like it's gonna be intense. Anthropogus. I got about 20K into this one as well, I think. This one is my reverse cannibal story. So somebody who cuts off a chunk of themselves, force feeds it to somebody, and it turns them into a cannibal monster. Kind of like a Wendigo, but not a Wendigo. So, yeah. Fun times. That one is in the future, like near future, I guess, and takes place in California. So in the woods, what's left of the woods in California, I have been Google mapping and like YouTubing explorations of certain areas and cave systems and underground labyrinths and stuff like that over there. So I've done my research, like I've routed their route, and that was really fun. But I just ran out of steam on that one. Dark Carnival is a short story also on the back burner. This one is a carnival that is on the boardwalk of, I think it's New England. And this guy shows up at one of the exhibits of the carnival, and it is a dead tentacle monster, Lovecraftian god. And its eyes open, and like the color of its eyes bleed into his eyes, and he's on a mission. And I think there's gonna be a murderous clown cult as well. So yeah, interesting times. The Flautist is my Lovecraftian short story that I did a vlog of my brainstorming process, and then I never actually got down to writing it yet. Rolling. Yeah, so I need to actually write down. It's going to be one of the people that plays a flute to keep Azathoth asleep, because if he wakes up, we all wink out of existence because we are his dream, so we want to keep him asleep. But yeah, I'm thinking it's going to be like organic living flutes, and she's a human that is being press-ganged into being a flautist to play, and I don't know if she can actually hear the notes she's playing, but yeah, still more to think on for that one. And then I have my YA fantasy World War II Dark Academia Seance book. It's a lot of descriptors. So there is a school for people who want to learn about spiritualism. So that was a major religion in parts of Canada and the US back in World War II times. And so I need to make a fantasy version of this because I don't want it to be actual World War II. I want it to be a fantasy war. And so, so it's fantasy countries. And yeah, it's going to be the whole school where you learn how to do seances. You get called to the front to perform seances on the soldiers that have fallen so you can get intel out of them. And then the main girl is a teenager still. She's like 16 in the first book in the school learning, and then has to like unravel a murder mystery. And then book 2 is where they get called to the front and have to do the seances on the fallen. So I'm not sure if that's how I'm gonna do it, or if I'm gonna do parallel timelines of her at the school and her in the front, so that it's not a complete genre flip for book 2 and puts people off. Still got a lot of thinking on that. So my goals for the rest of 2022. Query the latest finished version of Seeds of Doubt. So put that out there. Take my collection Tiny Shivers and give it to the editors, which is scheduled already for November. I've done the down payment. Start a second horror collection. So that would be like where the Flautist and Dark Carnival and It Came From Under the Bed and Brackish Harbor would go into. Would be my second horror collection. And finish and submit Brackish Harbor, It Came From Under the Bed, and the Flautist. So finish those 3 and submit them to anthologies and magazines. So those are my goals. I have those goals. I have no clue what's gonna happen to my middle grade if it doesn't get picked up. There are, like, the agents that I am querying are all American, and I might have my Canadian citizenship by the end of this ride, so then I might start querying Canadian agents and get it published in Canada, maybe. I don't know if I should go self-publishing. That's the word. Yeah, I don't know if I want to self-publish my middle grade or not, but yeah. So that's my update. That's what I have been working on, what I will be working on, the current state of the union of Lord Nettles, and yeah, I hope to see you guys soon and continue following on my journey, and we will continue on. I will probably be writing a ton more flash pieces and 100-word pieces as well here and there and yonder as calls come up. But for now, I don't really know about those submission calls, so they're not on my goals. But I'll probably write I'll probably write 6 more drabbles and about 5 more flashes, probably. I don't know, at the rate I write flashes, I might do like 15. Who knows? Whatever. But yeah, I'll see you guys all later, and thanks for joining me.